Dr. Liz Lakin, Senior Lecturer in Science Education at the University of Dundee. I lecture in science education, but also in environmental sciences. And I sit on council for the Society of Biology, have done since the Society was formed, and I chair the Degree Accreditation Working Group. Going way back to when I was doing my A-levels in my lower sixth, I was suffering from glandular fever actually at the time. And I remember working from home, doing a lot of things at home, trying to really sort of catch up with some of the areas that I'd missed in the A-level biology. And I mean, that would have been the early 70s, and at that time, Jim Watson and Francis Crick were very much to the fore as far as they got the Nobel Prize back in the 50s, but even so, their discoveries were really, sort of cutting-edge science, and that fired me on incredibly. And I suppose out of that I grew my real interest in biology, although even as a child I was always fascinated by it. Along with them, there was still, the stalwarts, if you like, of biology. There was Darwin, of course, and more contemporary David Attenborough. And several things came out of all those scientists that I sort of held in high esteem, with two key areas. One was their real-life stories. The controversy that surrounded their life. As I got to know more about Darwin, I was fascinated by the tension that he had between his science and his home life, the very devout Christian, his wife, the issue with his daughter dying. Then with Watson and Crick, there was the areas there that they were stepping out in science, but there was still controversy about what they were doing and how they were doing it. I found that trying to understand all of that aspect, as well as what it really meant from a science point of view, was absolutely fascinating. Being a teacher and a teacher educator at the time, I was in a way given free hand to really look into the history of science and science education, and it was wonderful. I met characters like Lister and Jenner and Fleming, and obviously Darwin, and with that came, like I say, the real life controversies that all of them had, but the stories that went with them, which really fired up and enriched the teaching that I was doing, I felt. Science isn't something that you can really do in a closed closet somewhere. You can get so far, but you need to go out and talk to people, and you need to discuss things. So, hence the communication of science, listening to other people, listening to what other people are doing. I mean, I've got colleagues who are honorary research fellows, and I find some of the debates I have with them are still very much, well, tell me where you got the evidence from, and what does that mean, and how reliable is it, And it's those sort of discussions and those sort of tensions and those controversies that come out of it that have really fired me, and I hope translated into what I do on a day-to-day basis.